Okay, so in this video we're going to start talking about hyperbolas. Hyperbolas are basically, for lack of a better term, like an imploded ellipse or circle. So here is a graph, and a hyperbola will either open in an x direction like this, or it'll open up and down in a y direction. And we have two different ways which we identify which one's which, like we did kind of with an ellipse. So with a hyperbola, some equations, we're going to hop right to it. Notice that basically it's the same exact equation with respect to the ellipse, but the major difference is instead of addition, it is subtraction. And we have two different types here. I'm going to shrink this a little bit. We have a horizontal and vertical type. There's a little bit of vocab that I'm going to go over here real quick. And this one right here is going to be a major axis, and it's going to be x. And the reason is the a squared is always with the major axis. And this one, there's a different word for it. We're going to call it the, we can either call it the conjugate or the transverse. And I'm going to do that on the other slide. But we used to call them a vertical major or horizontal major. So this major axis is x because the a squared is underneath x. Okay? Now, with this one, a squared does not have to be greater than b squared. So a squared, it could be less than b squared, or a squared could be greater than b squared. It doesn't matter. A squared could technically also equal b squared. It doesn't matter. It's where the position is. So it's the first one. So the positive term determines whether it's a y or an x opening. So if you look at the vertical one that I have here, this guy is a vertical major axis because the y is the first term, or it's the positive term in the equation. This guy's negative, not just b squared, but that guy's negative because you got the minus sign right here. Okay, so that's how we tell. I'll point that out when we start doing some problems. That's with our vocab, a couple different things. We have a transverse axis and a conjugate axis. The transverse axis is just a new word for major axis. Okay, so notice transverse is the same as major, whereas conjugate is the same as a minor. Just if you see those vocab words, you know the difference. If you call it a major axis, that's fine, but you need to know transverse also means major. The length of the major axis is still 2a, the length is still 2b for the minor, foci are still c. So we're still going to have our a's, our b's, and our c. And our a's are to use for our vertices, or a vertex. B is still for a covertex, and C is still for a focus. And I got a graph here because I'm going to draw a picture, and I'm just going to plot some points here. So this one will be a horizontal, okay, because the axis is a horizontal direction. So these guys right here are going to be my vertex vertices. Okay? And now, doesn't matter where they are, I'm just going to plot some. And they're all going to be the same distance from the center. These blue guys are my covertex. Okay? And then I'm going to have my focal points. Notice how the focal points are going to be inside. They're going to be inside the actual shape. So these guys are going to be my focus. Okay, those are all the different pieces. So this guy is still B, this guy is still C, and these guys are still A. Those are the pieces. And there's one little minor thing. We're going to have asymptotes that cross here. This is dead space right here. The equation will never equal this, these dashed lines. I know this is kind of messy because of the screencasting, but these are all the different pieces, and we'll work with these as we go through the videos, and we'll identify all these different things and how we can pick them out of the equation.